talk about in this video is the idea of transcending yourself, your kind of automatic knee-jerk reflex in terms of your own active consciousness. So there are layers obviously to the consciousness. So we have, our daily mind-based, logical thinking, reality experiencing conscious thoughts. We have also our subconscious or our superconscious. But what I want to deal with in terms of raising your vibration and raising the experience of your life is what you can control in terms of your dominant thought patterns. And so it's so important that we really start paying attention to the frustrations, to the negativities, to those little aspects of ourselves that are ego-based, that are essentially derailing the flow and balance of our life and derailing what is potentially could be making us happy moment to moment. So I want to provide a contextual example of this. So in context, let's say you're driving down the road and you're super frustrated, and inside your head you have a dialogue, this fucking guy's cut me off, or any of those little things that you're saying, or you're sitting next to your spouse and they're talking and what they're saying is just kind of irritating you, and in your mind you're thinking, this person is a moron, or they're really pissing me off right now. All of that is part of your experience, and once you really start realizing that the suffering that you are going through is coming from you, that is a game changer. So everything that you are currently processing in terms of how others, so those external others, are frustrating you, making you mad, making you potentially feel tired or exhausted, whatever it is, whatever those energetic tethers that the external world have over you are actually in real time affecting how you see the world, how you perceive it, and your experience. So then how do you transcend that? How do you take that knowledge of this, the interconnectedness of what you are experiencing in your reality on the external, and how you are synthesizing it, taking it in to your internal world, and therefore experiencing everything? Really, there is so much power that you hold within yourself. You have the power to decide at any given moment whether you are going to be triggered, affected, frustrated by your external world, or whether you are going to come into a moment of peace, really solidify that peace for yourself and hold that equilibrium of balance on the internal plane that is you, that is your operating system. And so how do you do this? Again, I was driving down the road today. I was a little bit frustrated, and I immediately paid attention to the fact that I started negatively speaking. The internal dialogue in my head was very negative. And just like if I was sitting, around with a group of friends and gossiping, which is something I've totally cut out of my life, which has really improved my life. I've done this for years, and it has had dramatically amazing results on how I feel energetically. I'm essentially doing that same negative behavior with myself and my ego, talking in my internal world. And so what I've started paying very close attention to is that reactive aspect of my ego that starts creating this mess of negativity inside my head. So when you are going through this, when you are engaged in this self-dialogue, you are in control. You're in the driver's seat. You control that little girl or that little guy in your head. So start taking control of it, and don't allow it to hijack your experience on autopilot, especially if that experience inside your head is negative. And what is that? That basically transcendence. This is the concept of the transcendent act. The way that we raise our vibration, the way that we move to a higher plane of existence is just overcoming. And that's all transcendence is. It's just that aspect of overcoming the self to move into a higher level of existence so that you, the individual soul, can experience a more beautiful out expression of your reality. And as you do this, you are mirroring to others a better way, a different way of existing in reality. And so by way of any individual transcending themselves, transcending the ego, they are moving up in terms of not only their vibration, but their experience of existence. And that's the core fundamental teaching, is that you are experience. You are the experience. Everything around you is the mirror of what it is that you are. So as you work yourself out, as you untangle that complicated web that is you, everything around you in your experience also becomes better. Now, part of it might just be that the experience becomes better because you're no longer looking at it through the lens of negativity, so therefore it can affect you. But what I've seen in my experience and in my reality is it actually becomes better. Via the energetic vehicle, call it the quantum field, call it whatever you like, you're actually experiencing a culmination of a better existence because you have changed. You've made a fundamental change in your internal world, which is, it's beautiful, it's magical, and it is worth digging in and doing the work. And that's another point that I really want to bring up, is it is work. Because right now, your consciousness is doing its thing on autopilot. Some of this might be societal programming. Some of this might be generational programming. Some of it might just be genetic. Okay, this is how we've done it for so long. This is the way that the human conceptual world works. But fundamentally, once we realize that we can change that, that we have the will to change that. And what is will? It is just our own passionate action to create a change, to create something new. And so this is the fundamental concept of transcendence. That's all it is. It's not that complicated. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to be, so esoteric and so, far off in the distance that we can't implement these very simple tools into our own daily life. And when we do that, we create a better life, a better world, better communication, okay? And this comes back to, again, communication on our internal plane will spill over to a more gentle communication on the external plane. Because as you become more gentle, more loving on the internal plane, how you talk to yourself, how you are describing others, so those descriptive words that you're using, again, back to that example of being in the car and being frustrated at the traffic, you don't have to do that. You don't have to create this vortex of negativity within the self. You can simply have a blissful experience in the middle of traffic and be grateful for all of the things that you have, all of the possibilities. You can go into a zone where you're using your own imagination. If somebody is creating negativity that is directed towards you, because sometimes it's not just all in your head, sometimes somebody is just freaking out at you. And I myself, I'm bad for this. Sometimes I do this, being somebody that's running large corporations. Sometimes I flip out on my staff, things that I know I shouldn't do. And it is a knee-jerk reaction because I'm overwhelmed, I'm frustrated, and truly because I have not taken the time to really focus on my internal equilibrium, my emotional stability, and I could have gone about it a better way. So how do we look at our external world? How do we take whatever is coming at us, whatever type of energy? And again, this is about transcendence. No matter what is going on, on the internal or in the external, how are we able to transcend that moment by moment and keep ourselves that calm eye of the storm, whether the storm is external or internal or both? How do we do that? How do we transcend? So how we do it is practice making perfect, identifying the issues, identifying the problems, looking at, again, how we can disengage with anything that is of a lower vibration. So whether it is appearing in our internal world, or if it is appearing on the stage of the external. So, other people out there that are creating or generating negativity towards us. It's that element of being able to be willfully calm, peaceful, balanced, and able to disengage. And having the ability that if somebody is trying to elicit a certain energy out of you or push you into a zone where you get frustrated, having practiced this energy of being stable, being calm, and being able to take yourself out of that vortex of the tailspin of whatever that is. And it's not easy. The world is complicated. The world is stressful. There's a lot going on in the world. So to really move up the ladder of how we are becoming able to transcend everything that's going on, we need to work on it. It is a practiced daily thing, and that's really what I love about working on your internal world, because you're the only one that's able to be honest with yourself. You know if you're being an inside jerk. And so when you have that internal negativity energy that's bubbling up, it's up to you, and it's only up to you to fix it. You can't blame it on anybody else. You cannot blame your internal world on anything outside of you, because you are the one that is operating. You are the chief and commander of your internal world. So that's where you can really work on it first, really work on calming and positioning yourself in that internal world. And then as a subset of this, or an extension of it, then you can utilize those learned practices that you have been diligently doing with yourself and start to implement them with how you deal with others. And it's not an easy process, and I'm not saying that I'm perfect at it. All I'm saying is this is the roadmap that I'm personally taking in my own life to balance things out and to create that better expression both internally and externally for the own unfoldment of my own life. So I'm going to wrap this up, but hopefully you got some value out of this video, and again, tune in and we'll see you in the next lesson.